Paige Bueckers stepped up to the Dallas Wings Media Day podium and delivered a carefully prepared statement about her relationship with Azzi Fudd, and the internet instantly erupted. Her message was clear, controlled, and firm. Their personal life is nobody else's business. She emphasized that whatever they choose to share is entirely up to them, that they've always handled themselves as professionals, and that nothing off the court has ever affected their performance on it. She even added that they're not new to this level of scrutiny. They've dealt with it before, repeatedly, and then shut the door completely, saying she would not address the topic again for the rest of the season. That statement, though polished, lit a firestorm. The backlash has been loud, relentless, and in many corners, brutal. While some reactions have crossed the line, a large portion of the criticism is being fueled by how her message came across measured, yes, but to many, also dismissive and tone-deaf given the situation. Because this isn't just any storyline. Let's lay out the undeniable reality. Bueckers and Fudd publicly confirmed their relationship after winning a national championship together at UConn. Then came the twist. Fudd was selected as the #1 overall pick in the 2026 draft by Dallas, reuniting her with Bueckers, who went #1 the year before. 2 consecutive top picks. Same team, same backcourt, and a highly visible relationship tying them together. That combination? It's never happened before in the WNBA, not at this scale. Not with this level of spotlight. From every angle, basketball, media, culture, it was always going to draw intense scrutiny. Questions were inevitable. Attention was guaranteed. And now, with one statement, the conversation has only gotten louder.
We hope everyone had a great offseason. There is something that I wanted to address, and I only plan on addressing it once. So if we continue to get asked about it, we will refer to this moment in time, or we will use this time to deflect and talk about our teammates. Quite frankly, I believe me and Azzi's personal relationship is nobody's business but our own. And what we choose to share is completely up to us. But as media members, I understand you guys have a job to do, and you guys have to ask questions about the basketball aspect of it. So that's what I will be addressing today. Me and Azzi have always been the utmost professional. We've always conducted ourselves as such. And we've never.
The situation spiraled even further because the Dallas Wings front office mishandled it from the start. Just 11 days earlier, during Azzi Fudd's introductory press conference, a reporter asked what many considered a fair and relevant question about the relationship dynamic. Instead of addressing it, the team's PR staff abruptly shut it down. That move didn't quiet the conversation, it amplified it. Classic dry sand effect. By trying to silence the topic, they made it impossible to ignore. The silence itself became the headline. By the time Media Day arrived, the pressure on Paige Bueckers was massive, so she came prepared. Before taking a single question, she delivered a pre-written statement, and it's the tone of that statement that has people reacting so strongly. This isn't just about what she said, but how she said it. Phrases like, "Quite frankly, it's nobody's business but ours," and "we won't be addressing it again," carried a sharp, deliberate edge. The message didn't feel open or conversational, it felt final. Controlled. Closed off. To many watching, it didn't come across as setting boundaries with professionalism. It felt like drawing a hard line in the sand. There was no sense of inviting fans into her perspective, no attempt to soften the moment. Instead, it came off as shutting the door completely firmly and publicly, and that distinction matters. Because in a league like the WNBA, where player-fan connection is a huge part of the culture, tone can shape perception just as much as words.
New people who are watching the WNBA or women's basketball in general, but me and Azzi are not new to this. We've been doing this for a long time. We have countless reps at it. We have a lot of experience with it, so we will continue to use that experience to show up and be professionals, great teammates, great leaders, the hardest workers, and continue to show up and do our job and help the Dallas Wings win basketball games. To add on to that, Azzi Fudd was the #1 draft pick because she earned it, and it had nothing to do with me and everything to do with me.
Fans reacted exactly how you'd expect: loud, divided, and relentless. Across comment sections, many argued that Paige Bueckers invited this level of scrutiny by going public with her relationship with Azzi Fudd in the first place. Their point was simple. Once a relationship is confirmed in the public eye and becomes part of the spotlight, it's difficult to then shut that spotlight off completely. Some called her tone condescending. Others felt she was lecturing reporters for doing their jobs, and many labeled the responses entitled. But here's where the conversation needs real balance. A lot of that backlash misses a key principle: privacy. Bueckers has every right to keep the deeper details of her personal life off limits. Setting boundaries with the media isn't arrogance. It's something every professional athlete in every league is entitled to do. Going public doesn't mean giving the world unlimited access. That expectation can quickly become unhealthy, even toxic. At the same time, critics aren't entirely off base either. The issue isn't just the message, it's how it was delivered. And that's where the situation starts to shift from justified boundary setting into something that felt to many unnecessarily sharp.
On to that, Azzi Fudd was the #1 draft pick because she earned it, and it had nothing to do with me and everything to do with who she is as a human being, who she is as a basketball player, her resilience, her strength, and her career best here at UConn. So Azzi is her great individual person, her own great individual person, and she should be.
There's a clear difference between setting a boundary with professionalism and doing it in a way that sparks backlash. One approach builds mutual respect. The other can feel combative and invite criticism. In this case, many feel Paige Bueckers lean toward the latter. The message itself wasn't the problem, it was the tone. A simple, composed response like, Azzi and I are doing well, and we're focused on winning for Dallas. We appreciate your respect for our privacy, could have shifted the entire moment. It answers curiosity, keeps things professional, and smoothly brings the focus back to basketball without feeling headlines. Instead, the delivery felt rigid and overly scripted to some viewers. The language came across as calculated rather than natural, more like a corporate statement than a genuine interaction. And that's what many fans are reacting to, not the boundary itself, but how it was communicated. But there's a deeper layer that goes beyond tone. When you zoom out, the situation raises questions about team dynamics within the Dallas Wings. In professional sports, especially at the level of the WNBA, relationships between teammates naturally draw attention because performance depends so heavily on chemistry, trust, and communication. This isn't about personal details. It's about how any close dynamic might influence what happens on the court. Basketball is fast, emotional, and intensely competitive. Success often comes down to split-second decisions, unspoken understanding, and complete trust between players. When two key figures share both a professional partnership and a personal connection, it inevitably becomes part of the broader conversation, not out of intrusion, but because of how tightly performance and team cohesion are linked at the highest level.
Worry about the media, what the media is saying and putting out. Well, the problem is the media ain't got no balls. The reaction, the outrage, when the Dallas Wings PR person stopped the line of questions, that was appropriate. It was the first time I can remember basically everybody coming together and being in agreement that the question was fair, except some members of the
What happens to the Dallas Wings offense when things off the court aren't perfect? It's a fair question, not because of gossip, but because elite basketball is built on rhythm, trust, and timing. In a high-speed system where the ball has to move instinctively, even subtle tension can disrupt flow, not necessarily in dramatic, obvious ways, but in hesitations, missed reads, or split-second decisions that don't quite connect. Now take it a step further. If two franchise cornerstones hit personal friction, the concern isn't instant chaos, it's the potential ripple effect. Locker rooms are emotional ecosystems. Teammates notice energy shifts, communication patterns, body language. Over time, that can influence cohesion. But framing it as an automatic franchise collapse goes too far. Professional teams deal with interpersonal dynamics constantly, and strong coaching staffs are built to manage exactly that. This ties directly into the debate surrounding the draft and Azzi Fudd selection. Paige Bueckers strongly defended it, emphasizing that Fudd earned the #1 spot purely on basketball merit. And from a skill perspective, that argument holds weight. Fudd was widely projected as a top pick and is one of the most dangerous perimeter shooters in her class, hitting over 44% from three in her final college seasons. For a team needing spacing around ball-dominant guards, that fit is clear and analytically sound. But critics aren't questioning her talent, they're questioning risk. Fudd's injury history is well documented, and durability matters when you're using the most valuable pick in the draft. Teams aren't just drafting for skill. They're investing in long-term availability and stability. So the real debate isn't as extreme as some are framing it. It's not relationship versus basketball. It's a more grounded question. Did Dallas prioritize immediate fit and elite shooting over durability and broader roster balance? That's a legitimate strategic discussion. If Fudd stays healthy, the decision could look brilliant, perfect spacing, elite shot making, and a dynamic backcourt. If injuries resurface, scrutiny will naturally follow. That's the reality of high stakes drafting in the WNBA. Every choice is magnified, and outcomes define the narrative.
Two NBA guys were dating on the same team, it would be an enormous story. Part of the new media deal, attention, means addressing things. Yeah, that's the other thing. Y'all getting paid real money now. So now it's time to put your big boy britches on and understand you got to start talking about some things. Once they break up, it will.
The Dallas Wings are coming off a brutal season, just 10 wins against 34 losses, tied for the worst record in the WNBA. And it wasn't a one-off collapse. This is a franchise that's struggled for consistency for years, stacking losing seasons and searching for a real identity. Now, on paper, everything looks different. The roster has been reloaded with serious intent. Paige Bueckers, last year's #1 pick, is coming off a Rookie of the Year season, putting up 19.2 points, 5.4 assists, and 3.9 rebounds per game. She's now paired with another top selection in Azzi Fudd, one of the most dangerous shooters in the game. Add in a high-scoring presence like Eric Ogunbowale, who averaged over 22 points per game, and suddenly the backcourt looks explosive. The frontcourt got a major boost too, with the addition of Alana Smith, the Defensive Player of the Year, and veteran Jessica Shepard, bringing toughness and experience. On talent alone, this is one of the most complete and balanced rosters Dallas has put together in years. But here's the problem. None of that matters if the noise off the court drowns everything out on it. Right now, that noise is loud and growing. Every cold shooting night, every visible frustration, every missed connection between Bueckers and Fudd is going to be dissected under a microscope. Cameras will linger longer. Narratives will form faster. And fair or not, the conversation will keep circling back to their relationship. That's why Media Day mattered so much. It was a chance to reset the narrative, to quiet the distractions, to redirect focus purely to basketball. Instead, the tone of that moment seems to have amplified the spotlight even further. And here's the reality. When you're the face of a franchise, the expectations shift. Bueckers isn't just a player, she's the centerpiece. With that comes a different level of responsibility in how situations are handled publicly. You don't always get the luxury of closing the door and expecting the conversation to end there. Because on the court, the potential is undeniable. Bueckers' all-around brilliance, combined with Fudd's elite shooting, could create one of the most dangerous backcourts in the league. If it clicks, this team doesn't just improve, they become a serious threat. Now all eyes turn to the preseason opener. That's where the noise either fades or gets even louder. Because ultimately in professional basketball, there's only one thing that can truly control the narrative: performance.